and transcription, so I can switch that on, but no external solutions, please.
Yes, thank you, Jeroen, for that reminder. Please, a reminder to everybody to not add in any AI in the chat.
Oh, there's a read AI one, I'm removing it.
Okay, super. Thank you. All right, good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this roadshow. My name is Ajmal Dulo. I'm the Global Volunteering Coordinator at the IFRC. So it's my pleasure to invite you to this roadshow today. I would like to remind everybody that this session will be recorded. So if you do not want to be part of the recording, please turn off your camera and please keep yourself on mute at all times unless you have a question. I would like to remind you all that we also have a Spanish version of this roadshow this afternoon at 4 p.m. Geneva time. And we have a French version on Tuesday, 8th October at 11 a.m. Geneva time. So the agenda will be the following. We will have opening remarks by Frank Mohauer, who's the Director of National Society Development Services, and Jeroen Law, Director of Digital Transformation Department at the IFRC. And following the remarks, we will have Alejandro Salgado from ICSIAM, who's going to take us through the volunteer data management system. And then after that, we will have about 20 to 25 minutes for questions and answers. Before giving the floor to Jeroen and Frank, I would like to give you a little bit of background on this project. So many of you are aware that there is a strong interest in strengthening volunteer management through improved data and digital systems. Over the last couple of years, with the support of the Spanish Red Cross, French Red Cross, Kenyan Red Cross, British Red Cross, we did a comprehensive analysis to establish the minimum standards to enhance insights in volunteer management across our network and to improve the cost effectiveness of digital solutions for our membership. This analysis included about 15 existing digital solutions in use by national societies, and the work was performed by experts from both national societies and the IFRC Secretariat. From the 15 digital solutions that we looked into, 5 of the providers were scrutinized. And from the findings of the assessments, we saw a spectrum of digital solution, each of them with very distinct advantages and challenges. But based on the general criteria for scalability, cost, support, and implementation complexity, ICSIAM solution seems currently the most promising for scalability and support. It's built on an open, robust source framework that is adaptable to different needs and has a very good proven track record. It is contracted by the Spanish Red Cross, who is leading the Volunteer Data Management System Working Group of the Volunteering Alliance. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Spanish Red Cross for their commitment and support on this project. Now I have the pleasure to welcome Frank Mohauer, who's with us to give us some of his opening remarks. Over to you, Frank.
Thank you very much, Ajmal, and good morning to everyone. It's great to see how many people are here. I think we're currently over 50 people, and it's going on and higher up, and really a process coming, long process coming to a good, not an end, but to a good important milestone, launching the process, launching the project. And I would like to thank here also the extremely good collaboration which we had with Jeroen and the team, and combining the technical aspects together with the volunteering aspect wasn't an easy exercise, but I think we really made a good result and outcome out of this, and Jeroen will address you later on. So again, Jeroen, many thanks for moving this forward from your perspective. But it's not only about technicalities. This is about volunteering primarily. And, you know, we all talk about how important volunteers are. Volunteers are our heart of the IFRC. They are also our brain of the IFRC. And this is something of national societies, because they are not only the implementers, and we all know this. They are the ones who steer, gear, and shape the Red Cross, Red Crescent. This is our element where we are saying to all the outside world, we are in all communities, we are out there, we understand communities. We are really around localization. So volunteers are the heart, the backbone of our localization agenda, because without them, we are not there in the communities, not understanding communities, not knowing what communities are doing, what the needs of our communities are, but also being able to deliver back to communities and being there. So this is really about volunteering. And this is about volunteering in terms of bringing this together, to have really that the national society has the possibility, the overview around what their volunteers' needs are, what kind of volunteers do I actually have, how many volunteers do I have, in which areas do I have. So it's a crucial element. Volunteer management is a crucial element of being really able to move forward, to really implement and make the best out of our localization agenda. It is really also about understanding what the demographics are about volunteers. It's about being able to understand what the needs of the volunteers are, also specifically in crisis moments, about protecting the volunteers, to be able to direct them, to understand what their level of education is, what their needs are in terms of skills, to be able to direct volunteers. Where do I have the volunteers with the skills in an emergency to move them to the right moment? And we've seen this. We've seen the lack of that understanding of national societies, which were not prepared to do this when all of a sudden crisis came up. So a digital volunteer management system is really not only a digital gadget, it is really an essential and crucial part of volunteering, of volunteer management, and moving this forward. But this is not enough. A great system is not enough. We also need to understand that the national society's leadership, and when I talk about leadership, I not only mean the Secretary General and the President and the board, but on all the other levels, in the branches, etc. This needs to be first and foremost, the national societies has to have a good vision, a good strategy, a good understanding what they would like to volunteers to do with them and move this forward. But I see also a very strong connection between the vision of a national society and the strategy of volunteers, volunteer strategy, because such a volunteer management system can really bring the relevant data to adjust your strategy, to adjust your vision, to make sure that you're on a good way. So I think today we are not only celebrating a new digital tool, we are celebrating a really important part of the overall volunteer engagement, the volunteer strategy. So I would like to thank again everyone who has been working on this so hard, and sufficiently specifically also seeing Ferran here, who has been a driving force with the Spanish Red Cross behind this. Big thanks to you, to Jurian and your team, to Ajmal and the team, and to all of you who are here on the screen to come here today and to move this now forward and implement this. I'll stop here, and Jurian, I think directly to you. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Frank and Ajmal. And yeah, I don't want, of course, to make this the road of compliment, but thank you also, Frank, because what we've been doing is delivering on one aspect of digital transformation. And maybe I'll just briefly explain the aim of that work and how this volunteer management solution fits in that work. So the IFRC digital transformation strategy is basically laid out what is the aim of digital transformation. And that is to improve the speed, the relevance and the quality, and as well as the efficiency of our humanitarian service delivery. So it's really anchored in everything a national society does for people affected by crisis and other disasters. And the other part of that, or a part of that, is to develop scalable solutions, so digital products and services that are co-created and with and inside our membership, and that can be scaled. Because, as Ajmal said in the introduction, that will make these solutions much more cost effective. And that's also where the advantages of digital lies, that we bring those solutions cross borders. So with volunteers at the forefront of our humanitarian service delivery, it's natural that we have put so much effort in delivering a solution that will help national societies manage their volunteers. With what we will present today, I think we have one of those treasures in hand, where many national societies that are in the first phases of their digital transformation can really use a product that we have designed with many national societies' needs in perspective. So I think some of the features that were explained already, let me repeat some that are captured in this solution. It's streamlining everything around volunteer registration, their activities, the training. It gives also a centralized platform for volunteer interactions. And it helps us also and you in the reporting and the analysis of what volunteers we have, how they are working, on what topics they are mostly activated. And it becomes therefore also a piece of our accountability work externally, but also raising our profile with what our volunteers are delivering in their respective national societies and communities. And then one of the additional features is enhancing communication with modern technology to volunteers through SMS or email or WhatsApp, but all integrated into one solution. So one final thing is you won't find, or some national societies won't find everything in this digital solution. This is also been a bit on purpose. So what we have developed is something that meets common minimum requirements. Ajmal alluded to it already. And that makes it possible to scale and keep it cost effective. We will be organizing, the additional requests coming in, but we would like to do that in an organized manner. So we have a solution, a way to prioritize that, because that's how we can manage and the affordability of the solution for most of the national societies. So that is one thing I wanted to say, is we on purpose go for more a product for the collective rather than a solution customized for every specific context, because that will undermine the benefits of a digital product as such. So I want to leave it there and hand back the floor to Ajmal, I think, for the next step into this session. Ajmal?
Yes, thank you very much, both Frank and Jeroen, for these inspiring words. I will now give the floor to Alejandro from IXIAM to take us through the roadshow. And I would also like to give thanks to Jackie, who's sitting in front of me here, who's part of Jeroen's team, who has been very, very helpful in this project, together with also Emmanuel, who's also maybe with us. Just for your information, so now we're going to go through the roadshow. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to raise your hands or put your questions in the chat. We would like this to be as interactive as possible. So if there's any burning questions from what IXIAM will be presenting, please do not hesitate to just jump in, raise your hand, and ask the questions. So thank you very much, and over to you, Alejandro.
Okay. Thank you, Akmal. Thanks, Frank and Julian and Ferran for trusting our company after such a long and thorough process. So yeah, thank you all. So I'll try to do a demo, which should be a mix of slides and showing the live solution. So yeah, I mean, we will be going through some key features of the solution, but I'm going to be referring a lot to VDMS, which yeah, it's for volunteer data management solution. So yeah, I will try to just shorten that to VDMS. so it's more friendly to all. So first about our company, we are an international consultant based in Barcelona, Spain, but we work worldwide. We have people working from different locations, and we have projects mainly worldwide. We only work with non-profit and NGO organizations, and we only work with open source technologies because we think that working with open source technologies is the perfect fit for non-profit or social good organizations. From these open source technologies, we are experts in a couple. One is CVCRM, which is the solution that we are using to build on top of that the VDMS. We do also other kind of services, but yeah, just want to introduce our company, which is Ixiam, which I'm the manager, and we started working with Red Cross before COVID, so I think it was 2019 when we received an email from Ferran's team that they were looking for some solution, and we started there. So it's been now almost 5 years of working together with Spanish Red Cross and now with other national societies. A quick introduction of CVCRM, which is, like I was mentioning, the CRM, the solution that we are using to build the VDMS. And it's important to highlight this because it's one of the key elements that I think this solution was selected among others because CVCRM, it's a web-based open source CRM, which was for you if someone is not familiar with this, it's for constituent relationship management. So mainly it's a system that allows organizations to manage all their interactions between the organization and their constituents. There are many CRMs in the market. CVCRM is one of those, and CVCRM it was designed and built by nonprofits for nonprofits and other mission-driven organizations. This means that from day one, the solution was targeted to address the needs of nonprofits. Like I was mentioning before, it's open source. Open source means that there's no proprietary approach on the solution. Everything that is in the solution, it's open and anyone can access in terms of the code and everything that we do, it's open source. And also it doesn't have license fees or any other type of limitation in the amount of contacts and users that an organization can have. So those are the typical benefits of using open source software, and that's why we truly believe that it's the best fit mainly for nonprofit sector. The CVCRM has been alive since 2004, and there are thousands of active users worldwide, starting from small nonprofits, charities, and scaling up until big organizations in this sector. One of the key elements is that there's no vendor lock-in. So even if we were kind of selected like implementers or developers for the solution by Spanish Red Cross and the other members of the project, it's all open source. And if at some point this open can scale up or can bring other players, there's no limitation on that. And lastly, about CVCRM, there's an active community behind, so anyone can access to the community and interact with them, ask for resources, ask for help. So we truly believe that this is a really great component of the solution. So then about the VDMS solution, and Fran, Julian, and Atmal were doing some kind of introduction. I will go a a bit deeper and then start showing some practical features. But the VDMS solution, or this IFRC VDMS solution, is a turnkey SaaS, software as a service solution, which it kind of sounds a little bit weird. I will try to explain those concepts. So turnkey means that after installing and setting up, it's ready to be used in a specific way with some limitations, but it's ready to be used. And software as a service means that we also take care of the hosting and maintaining. So after all the bureaucratic, we will provide you a URL to the National Society that can log in, and the solution will be there. So in terms of the project, we take care of the full hosting, maintenance, security, backups, etc. So yeah, it's based on CVCRM, a fully featured open source CRM, and the VDMS will help organizations maximize the potential of the volunteer workforce, streaming operations, enhancing volunteer engagement, and facilitating decisions with the data-driven decision-making tools. We will see during the session some of the key features developed for the IFRC VDMS. And just mentioning that this system is currently being either implemented or actively used in 8 national societies across Europe, Latin America, and Africa, Poland, Slovakia, Andorra, Albania, Bolivia, just to mention some. And we've been implementing this to these national societies since 2021 or 2022. So we've taken all of the feedback of these first early adopters, and from that feedback, we kind of built the product that, or with a product approach, this solution, which has these features pre-configured, let's say. But on top of the solution, the project includes not only the software, but includes some services that will help to national societies start using the system, because it's not only about the system, it's how we help, or everyone in the project team helps and improves and encourage national society to use the system. And so as part of the project, we will go through an implementation stage where we will help sorry. Is there a question or is some? Okay. Okay, so in the implementation phase, we will help national society to configure the software, to set up the accounts, to test the system, and also help in the process of going live, which is something there's always some resistance to change, which is typical in these projects. We will also help with data migration, training, and support. So we will be going through with the national society through all the process of implementing the new tool. And then which are the main benefits, not features, but benefits that the VDMS will provide to national societies? First, centralized data. So you will have a central location to store all and manage all volunteer data, such as contact information, availability, skills, interests, the history of trainings, etc. All of that will be in the VDMS. Also, it will, minimize the situation where organizations use different data sources to manage all of this information, either from Excel files, paper, or other isolated databases. The idea is to have everything centralized, and authorized person can access volunteer data from anywhere just with an internet connection. So that this will help accessibility, accessing the data better. It also will improve volunteer engagement, since volunteers will work more effectively with the national society through a portal that I will show later. So you will have a direct connection between the volunteer and the national society, where they can update the information, sign up for opportunities, track the hours, and download certificates, among other tasks that the volunteer will be able to do in this self-service portal. Also about management, the VDMS will help national societies coordinators to manage their volunteers more efficiently, automating tasks like scheduling meetings, tracking hours, sending reminders. So it should reduce a lot of administrative work on staff because they can work faster and better. And lastly, about better decision making, the managers, coordinators, and general secretariat will have really data-driven information to take better decisions, since you will be able to extract all this information from the VDMS in reports that can be exploited by the managers. So, for example, the organizations can use VDMS to identify high potential volunteers, target recruitment efforts, or develop some more tailored training programs, because they will have access to all of this information. My presentation today will maybe explain the two main roles that will interact with the system, which are volunteers and managers or coordinators. There's the management level for secretariat that will have access to all this data, but I won't focus on that because I will try to explain more on an operational level how the VDMS look like and what features are available either for volunteers or for managers and coordinators. So I will start with volunteers. So the first is that the VDMS includes a pre-configured public registration form. So the registration form, it's basically the gateway for new volunteers or for individuals interested in volunteer with the National Society. So it's designed to be accessible, responsive, and user-friendly. So this means that, you know, no one likes to fill forms. So we try to have a nice design, some multi-step and a lot of tooltips to help new volunteer or to encourage new potential volunteers to sign up to the National Society. So the form is optimized for mobile, so you can either access from a mobile or a tablet. And it's multi-step, so we can create different steps. So if it's a long form, it's easier to fill than just a huge form. Now it's available in English and French, but it can be translatable to other languages. The form, I think that in Poland they're using Polish, and in other it's been translated to other languages without any problem. Just you need to provide us the translations, and it will be available in different languages. One of the key features of the form is that it includes branch selection. So when a new candidate to volunteer is signing up, they can select the branch that they are signing up, and this triggers a lot of processes behind because the system or the VDMS can adjust to the National Society hierarchy, and then assigning that volunteer candidate to the coordinator of that specific branch. Also, the form will send messages automatically to the volunteer confirming the registration, and also it will send a message to the branch coordinator alerting that there's a new candidate or volunteer, and the process starts then. Yeah, so that's mainly a quick intro of the volunteer public form. And now I'll try to show you a demo of how it looks like. Just mentioning that this is how the form comes out of the box by the VDMS MVP, which is the minimum viable product. As part of the project, we can work with the National Society to tailor that form, removing fields, adding some new fields, adding some validations like local mobile phone number, or the validation of the ID, national ID, if they follow the national ID structure. So it can be tailored until some point from National Society to National Society, and this is part of, it will be part of the project. So this is how it looks like. I have this one pre-filled, so we don't lose time filling all of these fields. Again, this is the a standard field set of the sign-up form. We have first name, last name, email, phone number, gender, ID information, birth date, other information, picture, social media, address information, emergency contact. This is the first step of the form. It has a validation that if it's less than 15-year-old, the next button won't show. So these are samples of what things can be done in the form. So after it's more than 15, the next button appears, and then the second step of the form is more about is the volunteer profile. So we can select which scope of the volunteer activities am I interested, which is the branch that I'm signing up for. This is just a drop down. I will show you later other live form for Mali Red Cross that you will see how it works. I'm just selecting one branch and my speaking languages, level of education, and other information like availability in days and shifts, and some read policy documents that the volunteer has to accept that they read. And that's it. So it's a very, very straightforward form. In this step, the volunteer will receive a notification, and the manager of that branch one will also receive a notification that the volunteer has signed up. I have this other form, which is a live form for Mali Red Cross. And then, for example, it's in French, and then you see that they have structure in 3 levels: region, circle, and I don't know, branch. So if you select a region, then the second level is it's filtered, and then when you select the second level, you have the available of arrondiment of the for signing up. So in this case, for Mali Red Cross, we changed the form to include this 3-level hierarchy for either the address and their branch structure. So this is an example of how that out-of-the-box form can be adjusted for each national society. Okay, moving to the next feature. I was mentioning that emails and SMS notifications can be sent from the system. There will be automatic notifications, like when you complete the registration form or when in the sign-up process you change from one status to the next one. But also inside the system, coordinators can send messages or can send mass mailing or mass SMS to specific groups. I will show that later in a demo. Then what features from will be available to the volunteers? Because maybe this system can sound like it's true for coordinators, but also it will bring to the volunteers really, really nice features. So first, there will be access available trainings, either for the whole national society, or if we are working at a branch level, they will see only the trainings that are available to their local branch. So they will be able to sign up for those trainings, and then that will be listed in the dashboard. Then they will be able to see volunteer opportunities that are published in the portal that are for the branch, and so they can also see what's the opportunity description, and then be able to sign up or express the interest for participating in that specific opportunity through the system. And then the coordinator will have the tools to match and to see, okay, I need 10 volunteers of these skills, I have 15 signups, then I can just move, or I can match from this interest to the real needs of that opportunity. So also the volunteers will be able to use the VDMS to track their hours in different ways, depending on the national society need. And Also, the system will calculate the hours that they have spent either for training or for volunteer activities, and eventually they can download a certificate for their as a recognition of their achievements or for personal and professional purposes inside the portal. So by providing these features, the VDMS empowers volunteers to take ownership of their learning and development, and also to explore opportunities, track their contributions, and showcase their accomplishments. So all of these interactions between the volunteer and the organization will take place in the volunteer portal. Just mentioning that this may be for the low digitalized national societies, this can come in a second phase of the project, but I think it's good to showcase what can we do and which can be the roadmap of the project, especially for the low digitalized national societies, because this needs internet connection and it needs some high or skills, technology skills by the users. So the volunteer portal is a private self-service portal, so that volunteers can access and can interact with the national society. I will show a demo now. It's a customizable dashboard where volunteers can update the contact, access training, interact with national society, check the performance, and download certificates like I was mentioning before. So I will go back to this. This what I was showing is the same system than the volunteer registration. So I will be logging in as a volunteer. I obviously need to have a username and a password, and the volunteer will access into his or her portal. So this is a customizable dashboard where there will be some blocks available, and the volunteer can select which one to see and how they want to access to this block of information. So some available blocks are my personal information, volunteer performance, which, depending on the strategy of the National Society, you can show how far or which is your achievement inside the plan. You can either also download a certificate that will be automatically created with the show you with the amount of hours and the logo of the National Society. And also access to the trainings that the volunteer has been signed up. And here in the menu, they can see all volunteer opportunities available, filtered by their branch, all the trainings available, filtered by their branch. And if I open one, you can see the details of this training. And well, I'm already signing for this one. But let me see if I can sign in to this other one. Okay. Clicking just with one click, since I'm already logged in, I can register to this particular training or volunteer activity, and that's it. So this is pretty straightforward for the volunteers. Then there's a section where volunteers can send messages to the National Society. They can select which type of request is, and then provide some more details. And then this will create an activity in the VDMS. The coordinator will receive an email, a notification that someone asked something from his branch, and then this will trigger an internal process so that the coordinator can take care of this request or this action. There are some specific actions that are also available, like a request of a permanent leave or request for branch transfer, which also has their specific workflow created in the VDMS. So to request a permanent leave, you can select the reason, put some details, and submit. All of these communications will trigger in the VDMS a workflow to take duly actions on this request, and also so managers can keep track on what's happening with their volunteers. So this is a very brief demo of the customer portal. I will log out as a volunteer and go back to my slides. Okay, so now moving to the how the VDMS will help manager and coordinator in different ways, obviously. But the first one is that that public registration form that I showed before will be available as a private registration form for coordinators to fill in on behalf of the volunteers, because maybe they don't have internet connection, they have paper-based forms, or they are running some campaigns or whatever reason they can find. So the coordinators will be able to create new volunteer signups inside the system. I'm not showing it because it's pretty similar to what we showed before. It's just that the coordinators can fill those forms. Yeah, so another important feature of the VDMS is that they will help to the coordinators to go through all the sign-up workflow that starts from a candidate, volunteer candidate to be a volunteer, and then until they convert to a volunteer. So in a nutshell, the workflow is based on a sign-up process, an acceptance where they will sign the policies, an interview, a set of interviews, and then a training program after they become a volunteer. This is a standard workflow that the VDMS has. It can be adapted to each national society until a certain way, but the idea is that when a new volunteer signs in, he enters into this volunteer workflow. So this workflow schedule activities in a timeline. It assigns this candidate to the branch coordinator. You can track progress step by step, send emails to different roles. You can manage assigned tasks, and then have a easy way to convert candidate to volunteers, and also keep track on the progress of the workflow. I'm trying to quickly show you how the system looks when the coordinator logs in. Let me clean up this. So I will be logging in now as a branch coordinator. The system is the same. It's just that now I'm logging in as a coordinator. So I will start seeing different components of the system. I go here. This is the CRM. This will be like the backend, or this is the backend of the tool. So when the national coordinator logs in, they will have a different view. So first, they can access to a dashboard where they can see some reports that are of interest for them. That these reports they can create their own reports and put in their own dashboard. And also, yeah, I can search for, I can do some basic operations. So I can do a basic search, like this is the volunteer that signed up the form early, where I signed the form on behalf of this volunteer. So now the volunteer creates, the system creates a contact record for this volunteer. So you can see the picture, all the information that I filled before, it's in the system. And then if you see here, I have a relationship, which is I'm a candidate of volunteer for branch 1. So now I'm in the volunteer contact record, and me as a coordinator can start working on this volunteer and with the system. This is the basic of the CRM. This is the contact record. So the information is structured in different tabs, tabs with B, not tags with G, tabs. So you can have here documents that the volunteer uploads. Events are used for either for training and for volunteer opportunities. Cases is the workflow for the new candidate. So since they have filled up the form, it starts a new candidate workflow, and the system creates all of these predefined activities to keep track on the workflow for approving that candidate. So it starts with accepting all the policies. It's completed because they have signed up and they have that said yes in the checkbox in the form. But then you can skip with the interview, introduction course. So a coordinator can know exactly in which step of the process this volunteer is of the onboarding. And then let's say that me as a coordinator decide that everything is okay. I can convert this candidate to a volunteer. So I have also a quick way of doing that. I can search this volunteer because I'm manager of branch 1, and with just a click, this volunteer now has been converted to it's moved from candidate, and now it's a volunteer. So now I will show you in the relationships. Now it's not a candidate anymore. Now it's a volunteer or of the branch, of this branch. So in this way, coordinators can keep track on all the interactions of the volunteer, and from here, the volunteer is available to be assigned to different activities. Okay.
Alejandro?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm just aware that the time is running, and we would like to give some time for Q&A. Since you were talking about branch, there was a question from Nisha in the chat asking whether if there is a new branch that is being formed in the National Society, whether this branch can be added to the list.
Yes. Yes. During the implementation process, we will set up all the permissions and everything that we need to do for making this hierarchy branch level permissioning work. But we also will train the user, the administrators of the system, how they can create a new branch, what they need to do. It's just a few clicks, but yeah, it can be definitely done by the National Society.
Thank you very much, Alejandro. Just being mindful of time, I'm wondering whether we can go a little bit faster because we need to finish at noon, so in about 12 minutes on the dot. If it's okay to go a bit faster, and then we give chance for question and answers. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm almost there. Right? So we went through the sign up workflow. Then for communications, I was mentioning before that some automatic communications can be sent through the system depending on the workflows, but then CVCRM includes a communication hub, let's say, that it allows you to send rich mailings like newsletters or mass mails for inviting to events. And also branch coordinators will be able to use this tool. So if I go here, I'm now as a branch coordinator, I can just quickly create a mailing. Just going to show you mailing test. I can send only, because I have the permission is working, I will be available only to send emails to the volunteers of my branch. So this will be triggered. So I can select the template, which is already here. And also we will teach you how to create new templates. And from here, I can fill the content of the newsletter or the mass mailing, and then send it to this specific group. So sending mass mailings, it's pretty straightforward. You can create your own templates, nice looking templates. The emails will render properly in mobile devices. We can track the deliverability and the status of each mailing. And it's a similar workflow for SMS. This was the demo for mailing. So for reporting and analysis, and this is my last slide, topic. CVCRM has a really powerful reporting tool. There are more than 40 available templates to create reports of different types. The VDMS comes with some predefined reporting, like candidates pending to interview, total volunteer hours, new candidates per branch. So I think that we have like 10 or approximately 10 predefined reports thinking of some specific features for the National Society. So you will be able to use it to create your own reports. The results can be exported in Excel file, CSV, and PDF, or even you can schedule to deliver the report on a weekly basis. So you have Monday morning, the new signups of last week, for example. I will skip the demo. And then lastly, mentioning some other features, like I was mentioning before, control lists for hierarchy level permission. The system automatically can create a volunteer card, so every volunteer can download the card from the system, or the coordinator can send them by email. In the card, there's a QR code that will allow to validate in public activities that the volunteer has an active relationship with the National Society. And also it can create QR codes to confirm when you are attending to a training or to an opportunity that you are invited or you have this invitation. Yeah, and that's it. I will leave. Lastly, this is the next steps slide. There's a landing page published for the project. If you scan the QR code, you can get there. But maybe I will leave Atmal to moderate this last part of the meeting.
Thank you so much, Alejandro, for a very in-depth presentation. For those who cannot access the landing page, I'm pasting the link to the landing page in the chat. Please click there, and you can find all the information about how to access the VDMS, etc. there. Just for your information, I mean, the information is on the landing page. If anybody is interested on the system, my email is on that landing page. You can write to me at any time. Jackie and myself will come back to you with an application form for you to fill out to request the services. Just in summary, what we need from you is a commitment from your leadership for the VDMS, that you have a focal point dedicated to volunteering, that can spend time to adopt the system, that you are compliant with data protection laws, and that you have the funding available for the system. But please don't hesitate to write to me an email, and I can provide you with all the information, including the questionnaire that you need to fill out, including the FAQ that I can send for you in order to facilitate the deployment of the VDMS. Just because we have only 8 minutes left, I would like to give the floor to anybody who has some questions. I think there was a question about a demo video. You can find that on the landing page of the VDMS. Alejandro, there was one question regarding the volunteer portal, whether it's included in this MVP. Would you be able to answer that, please?
Yes. Yeah, the feature is there. The feature is there. How we approach this is to start with a minimum viable approach for implementing the system, because when implementing the VMS, there are so many things to do: configuring it, importing contacts, training the key users. So we see that enabling the portal is more reasonable to do that after the system is launched and after the coordinators and the National Society is really using the system. And then we think it's a perfect timing for enabling the portal. The feature is there. It's not that there's an extra cost for the feature. Maybe we will need to spend some hours after the implementation to help you set up, but that can be part of the post-implementation support that we can provide. But the feature will be there, or is there actually.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Alejandro. Sorry about that. Ooh, okay. You're muted? Okay, sorry about that. So there's one more question, Alejandro, on the workflow. This is Jackie. Edwin is asking whether projects can be, the entire workflow can be created and approved. For example, can a project be created, approved, you assign volunteers, assign the task, do the volunteer facilitation all in that workflow through VDMS?
Well, okay, this was part of the question, sorry. Okay, no, yes, now for publishing a project, I think it's targeted to a volunteer opportunity project, right? So volunteers can sign up to that project. Now there's a basic workflow where you can create a project and you can manage the status. It can be created, scheduled, approved, and published. So we have like 3 or 4 status that allows to track the step of that the project creation. It's not, I mean, it could be done, but so far it wasn't thought to be following this workflow that I was showing with CVKs. It's more like following a sequence of status. So yeah, the answer is that it can be treated like a simple workflow approval for projects, but yes.
Thank you, Alejandro. I have Carter, I think from Nigeria Cross, had the hand up.
Yeah, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Admiral, we once met before when you were in Nigeria, so I'll be very quick. Now, we have an existing volunteer database. So I know someone mentioned something about that, but how easy would it be to, move data from our existing volunteer database to this platform? That's one. Then secondly, is there any feature in this VDMS system that also covers membership, or is it strictly for volunteers? Thank you.
Okay. Should I take that? The first question, I mean, it's relatively easy to move contact from existing applications to this, since you are already using an application. So we could safely assume that the data is structured in a reasonable way, right? So we can work with you in the data migration, mapping the fields from your system to the new one, and try to do a data migration, and then start using again the new system. So it's relatively easy. Other scenario is that you are coming from 10 different Excel files with different formats, with no data normalization, or with paper. That would make maybe the migration more challenging. But in both cases, it's doable, and it should be part of the project. For the second question about membership, so CVCRM has a membership feature and a membership module. It also has a fundraising communications, but it has a membership management module. It's true that, like Julian was mentioning at the beginning, now the priority is to implement the VDMS with the features that are there for trying to implement in a fast and way. But the solution, the VDMS or the CRM, has a membership management module, and it will be there. It's not that it will be hidden or you will need to pay more. It will be there. But maybe it's a way of helping you or training you how to use, or this can be part of a second phase after the VDMS is implemented. But yes, it has a membership management module.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're muted, Ajmal.
Thank you, Jakob. Mohammed, over to you, please. We cannot hear you if you're speaking. I see you're not on mute, but we cannot hear anything. At least I cannot. If so, I would invite you to please type down your question in the chat. And for all the unanswered things in the chat, we will come back to you in writing. We have your email since you signed up to this meeting. We will make sure to answer the questions that you may have had. Matthew, over to you.
Can I ask?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Sorry,
This is Matthew.
Yes, Matthew, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm very well. I'm interested in the volunteer card. So basically, from what I can gather, if the system is in full has been fully implemented, then you can actually issue your volunteers an ID card, which is very essential, especially if we are going to camps where migrants are, or in refugee camps, because if you, I don't know if you hear the news, we are expecting an influx of people leaving Lebanon. these days. So you know, it's just has given me this idea that we definitely, when we have restricted access to some place as civilians, so to speak, to have a volunteer ID for the Red Cross, it would facilitate our work. And this is why I'm asking this question.
Yes, so I can speak a bit of that. So the system automatically can create a card in a PDF format. We can work with each national society to tailor and fine-tune the format because they are not the same. They are similar, but not the same. So we can create the format for each national society. The card can be available only for approved volunteers. So there's a security mechanism there. So you don't print cards that you don't need to. But then the card includes also a QR code. So one of the features that the VDMS already has and is being used is that if someone scans that QR code, the system will provide you a message that if it's a registered and approved volunteer or not. And it's a public code, so anyone with a mobile phone can scan that, and the system will answer and will provide with a green light or a red light, like, okay, no, we don't recognize this as a volunteer, or yes. Everything is
so basically the ID card is a digital card. It's not like the plastic cards, the usual like bank cards that we have for the ATM, so to speak. It's a digitalized card, yes?
Yeah, it's a PDF that each national society then prints, puts in plastic, and then sends to the volunteer. Yes.
Okay. Excellent, thank you. We are in the process of actually, I'm writing the volunteering policy. I'm just drafting it now, and hopefully by the end of the month I might be coming to Spain for some more training.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I apologize that we didn't have enough time maybe for the Q&A. I've put my email in the chat box. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. We can have a demo together with Ixiam. We'll bring in Jackie also in the meeting, so we can have a bit more in-depth demo of the system if needed and answer any more questions. But for those unanswered questions in the chat, we will make sure to come back to each one of you and make sure we respond to these questions. I'm sorry we have to end the meeting here because we all have other meetings to run to, but I really appreciate the time that you spent with us, and I hope this has been a meaningful session for you. We will share the recording with all of you following the meeting and the presentation. So thank you all very, very much, and look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot, Ajmal and team. Bye-bye, everybody, for participating.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you.